Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have the Steel Will Apostate. Some of you may be thinking, oh, they discontinued the Apostate. Well, they did, but they brought it back and they improved it slightly. I did not handle the original Apostate, so I did not know this, honestly, until they announced it this evening. I actually had to re-record this video. I already had the review done, and I thought it was just a reissue of the original one. It isn't. This one is a little bit smaller. And one thing they call the Apostate Mini, I would not call this knife mini at all, but it is a bit smaller than the original one. The original one was, over a 4-inch blade. This is 3.7 inches, so it is definitely a little bit smaller, but similar construction, similar kind of specs in a lot of ways. You have an S35 VN steel blade. You have a titanium frame lock running on phosphor bronze washers. It is a very tactical-y sort of knife. It is in the tactical category of the Steel Will website, which is where you can get this right now. You can pre-order it on there. Steel Will has been, they've been pumping them out the last month or two, definitely. I've got another one coming up that you will see shortly, and another review coming up, and then they've got another whole new model coming out also in a couple of weeks. So you're going to be seeing a few Steel Wills on here. They're just really pumping them out this year. Good job on them. And most of it's been pretty awesome. So I don't mind at all if they keep on going, guys. Completely fine with me. As I said, I never held the original Apostate. It wasn't something that appealed to me initially, I guess mostly because of the size. But in this size, I do really, really like this. I like the look of it. It is tactical, for sure. You can see it's got the little pommel on here if you want to bash things, sentient or otherwise. The full titanium back spacer, and $170 by the way for these, which is I don't think that bad for what you're getting. S35 VN, and it does come in multiple different colors. This is obviously the satin with the black G10, and then it also comes in a satin with a green G10. It comes in a black wash blade with the tan G10, or this black G10 with a black wash blade. Their black wash looks pretty cool. I'm going to show it to you here in a moment when we get to size comparisons. I'm going to show it against another Steel Will that has that on it. And it's a pretty cool looking finish. I do have to say, not usually a fan of coated blades, but I do kind of like Steel Will's black wash. It's kind of pretty. Not pretty, that's not the way to, it's kind of cool looking, I guess is the best way to say it. You just have a simple pocket clip on it, right hand only. But yeah. I think it's a pretty cool design. We'll get into more as we go. Let's do some specs and size comparisons before I ramble on too much more than I already have. We have an overall length of 8.5 inches, blade length of 3.7 inches, blade thickness of 0.16 inches, handle thickness 0.57 inches, pretty thick handle, absolutely for sure, and a weight not super light either, 4.76 ounces, not at all insane for kind of an overbuilt sort of tactically sort of knife. It's pretty darn good, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of milling inside here. Liners are milled out on one side and the titanium is milled out on the other, so they did do their due diligence to lessen the weight, but it is kind of a bulky, kind of heavy, tactically sort of knife. So let's do some size comparisons. Put it in our usual Spyderco sandwich. We have your Spyderco Paramilitary 2, significantly larger blade, but as you can see, not really a significantly larger knife. Your Spyderco Para 3, if you happen to have one of these on hand. It's obviously quite a bit bigger than that. And then we're going to do a couple little different ones here. First up, let's do one of my kind of, it's not even the same price range, but a knife that I said I was going to use as a standard, and I keep forgetting to bring it out, the Kershaw Bare Knuckle. Again, pretty similar to that. And lastly, this is not just to show the size difference, but also just to kind of show that black wash finish I was talking about. This is the Steel Will Chatbot. This is a D2 blade. Smaller knife for sure. This review will be coming up. I have it recorded, but I haven't put it up yet. But yeah, I really like this black wash finish, and this is the same finish you can get on the Apostate. I just think it looks really cool. That kind of pre-worn. I really like it. Like I said, I'm not usually a coating guy, but Steel Will's actually looks pretty decent. As far as this blade goes, yeah, pretty thick blade stock. This is making no No apologies about trying to be like a complete slicing dream or anything like this. Like they put it in, it says tactical right on the thing. But it is only 20 thousandths behind the edge, actually more like 19 thousandths behind the edge. Not bad at all. Very robust tip, pretty thick blade stock, but you know, it came screaming sharp out of the box, and it really didn't disappoint me at all. Trying to actually use it. I was kind of expecting to be a bit more disappointed by it, and I wasn't. It actually did slice pretty darn good. Don't really have any apologies to that. They did a pretty good job with the sharpening choil. Almost, yeah, almost got it perfect. Anybody who knows what they're doing sharpening wise is going to be able to deal with that. No problems there. I really do like the blade on it. Ergonomics were the thing that I was, guess I shouldn't be too surprised by it. I thought, oh, the handle looks really simple. It's just going to be kind of average. But you know what? That's actually usually pretty good. Simple handles usually work really well, and this is no exception. The jimping is in just exactly the right spot, and just the right amount of it, honestly, too. It's a bit sharp, but not enough that it's going to ever bother anybody. And I think the thing I like the most about it is this pocket clip. When it's in your hand, that pocket clip is non-existent. They did a really, really good job ergonomically placing that pocket clip. It works extremely well. Definitely, obviously, you can get all 4 fingers on it. No problems there. Again, simple handle, so no matter what the fatness or thinness of your fingers are, it shouldn't be a problem. You know, reverse grip, it is a tactical knife, so we're going to do that. Reverse grip is awesome on it. I will say, the way your fingers land, again, on that pocket clip, this pocket clip is just really well done. Put your thumb there on that pommel. Works really, really well. Cannot complain about that at all. If you're into that, I don't remember any time I've ever used a knife in reverse grip, but a lot of people do, I guess, because it's a thing. I do like how well this flipper tab works as a forward guard. If you're stabbing into something, you're not going to slide forward on this thing. The G10 on just the one side works out awesome. Plenty enough grip. You don't need any more than that, combined with that jimping. Just really, really, really well designed ergonomically. I can't honestly applaud it enough for that. Very, very cool. As far as the carry goes, you know what? Better than you'd think. You can see there's going to be a fair amount sticking out of here. And it's not super light, but again, it's not a tank at all by any means. The only real complaint I have carry-wise is when you're sliding past here. And dude, it's a small flipper tab, but it's got some sharp edges, and I do kind of catch it every now and then. And that may just be a fit and finish thing on this particular one. That may not be a thing that they all have. It's angled very well. It gets it out of the way, but a couple times my pinky kind of scratched on that little flipper tab. And judging by the shape of it, I probably shouldn't. I think 2 seconds with sandpaper, it would be gone. Or again, could just be a fit and finish on this particular one. Not going to bang it too hard for that. I'm just being nitpicky. I was actually pretty impressed with how it carried for being a pretty large, let's face it, tactical knife. I think it carried pretty darn well. As far as the action, the detent is pretty damn perfect. It's not bad at all. And for running on washers, I've done absolutely nothing to this thing except flip it a bunch of times. Works great. You can thumb flick it, all that stuff. These also act as the blade stop. A lot of times when you get a knife with thumb studs that act as blade stops, it's really hard to get your thumb in there. Not on this. It's pretty darn easy. I actually almost kind of prefer opening it that way. I wouldn't mind seeing them doing without the flipper tab. They work that well. But yeah, I really like the action on it. And again, I think if I tore this apart, KPL'd it and all that stuff, maybe polished some washers or something, it would be a complete free dropper. I know my similarly constructed steel wheel resident wound up being that way. After all I had to do was just KPL it. I think maybe I polished the washers. I don't remember. It's been a while, but it took me like 20 minutes of worth of work, and it was a complete free dropper. I think this would wind up being the same thing because this is a pretty heavy blade. So it stands to reason it would probably be even easier to make this more of a free dropper. But my overall conclusion, yeah, It's $170 on Steel Will's website. I don't know if that's what it's going to cost in stores. I kind of assume so, because lately Steel Will's website has been exactly the same price as it is everywhere else, which that's awesome. Good job, Steel Will, for not having these MSRPs of, you know, 40% more than what they actually cost in stores. The last few models they've released, what they were on Steel Will's website as pre-orders is what they wound up costing at, you know, your SMKW or Blade HQ, you know, your White Mountain knives. It was almost always the same exact price. So good on them for that. I think that's awesome. I wish everybody did that. My wife's a photographer. Camera stuff's the same way. You never know exactly what it's going to cost when it actually comes out. I really like it when companies post on their website what it's going to cost, and that's just what it's freaking going to cost. And if this is 180 S35 VN titanium frame lock, and I don't really have a problem with it. It's very, very well made, and I just have zero issue with it. A whole lot of titanium in this thing. I will say that. I mean, look at the big titanium backspacer. There's a lot of titanium in it, a lot of S35 VN. No issues with the price. The ergonomics are outstanding. The carry's pretty good. If you're into something kind of tactically like this isn't a terrifying looking tactical knife, but definitely it's not when you whip out in the lunchroom. That's for absolutely sure. But really, really cool knife. Good job, Steel Will. Keep it coming. You guys are pumping out some awesome stuff lately. You guys are like, I don't want to call them an underdog story or anything, but Steel Will, like last year, didn't come out with a whole lot new. This year, they come out with a whole ton of really cool new stuff. So keep an eye on Steel Will. Keep an eye out on this new Apostate. This is the 1150 model, by the way. The other ones have different digits to indicate the colors, but I will link to them all down below so you can go check them out. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.